Welcome to Upgrade. I'm your host, Frank the Tank, and today we're going to talk about the 7280 Latitude, Dell Latitude 7280. And what I do in this show, I pretty much like to talk about if it's upgradable or not. If we could go down the line and upgrading down like the hard drive, memory, and so forth, and even the battery too. So what I like to do is open the computers. Don't like to turn them on. Everything's the same as every other machine. I'll put the specs here if you guys want to know more about it. But what we like to do is just open open the machine and see what's under the hood. Now, before I even get started, I want to say thank you for those guys that subscribe, everybody that's subscribing. 72 to 90% of my viewers are not subscribers. So last time I checked, it was 96% are 9 subscribers. If you guys could hit the like and subscribe and maybe help the channel, I'll really appreciate. So let's go ahead and get started. Computer on top of the head. On top of it, it's a little rubbery. I like this part. This is a business type machine. It's not a gaming machine. It's just business type, student type. If you guys have a student in mind, really small, really petite machine. Full set of keyboard, not the 10 keys, of course. It's just a full power button here on the one side. Touchscreen, of course. Gorilla Glass, of course. Video camera here. A mic, it's built in. And let's go ahead and turn on the side. Very simple on the side. Ethernet port here is expandable. 3.0 USB. Micro SD card, and then we have a SIM card here. So those that want to travel and want to have internet 24/7, you could buy a SIM card or take your SIM from your phone and transfer in here, get instant internet. But please consult with your vendor and also your phones, because some of the systems require some software like Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. You might need some applications, some software. Now you do have an audio jack, a 3.5 audio jack. On the other side, let's turn it around the other side. This is very simple. SC card. This is pretty much a card reader for an encryption business or government that they have those encryption cards, double authentication cards. You do have here, if you guys could see it, another 3.0 HDMI, and of course this is pretty much is going to be the type C USB, and this is where the docking station plugs in. You could power a display and an Ethernet connection through this one jack in here, of course, knowing that you have a docking station, of course, and make sure it's compatible with it. Read the manual for more information. Then you get your power source, of course, here, the power when you're traveling. It's really light. It's business type or student if you want. All around is maybe like under 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds, I would say, close to 3. Well, I'll put the specs here. Don't believe me, I'll put the specs and see how much it weighs. Other than that, I like the rubber on the front of it. You know, seems like you could take a couple of drops here and there. So what we do, we like to open it up and see what's under the hood. So let's go ahead and do that. Do recommend you guys getting maybe a credit card or some guitar pick or something that you could grab a corner and lift up, because this is the hardest part right here, and you don't want to fracture it or break it down. So find a little corner and go all around. Make sure that you grab a little corner. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and talk about what's inside here first, right? What I like to do when I open them up, you want to air clean it, you know, especially if it's more than a year that you have the machine. You want to make sure you clean out, especially this fan here. This is pretty much the CPU, GPU. It's an Intel CPU, also running the GPU, which is the video card. Now, let's talk about what you guys see in here. First of all, you see one slot, and this is only one slot of memory. That's pretty much what you get. This one in particular, it is 8 gigs. No, actually it's 16 gigs if you see it. Sorry about that. 16 gigs in there. So one other thing, there is no slot for secondary, right? So just make sure you have that maximum of 16 gigs. 32 max, you could buy a 32 gig CPU RAM and install it yourself, but it only takes one, right? A lot of times when people they buy the double SIM where it comes with 2 pairs of 2, but this is only one here. Very simple to upgrade. You just pretty much open it up, lift up, and go. Now, the best part of it I like about this is the M.2. I'm gonna open it up here so you guys can see a little M.2. Now, this part right here in particular, let me take out the. There's two screws in here. There's one here, but I don't want to lose the screw, so I'm gonna try to lift them up at the same time and show you the hidden part of it. And this is pretty much the M.2 hard drive. And right now I have 512 in here, of course. You go upgrade this to even more than a terabyte, or 2 or 3 terabytes, depending on the market price of on the hard drive. Now this is an M.2, and we're gonna see if it's actual B or M plus a B. So basically, just take it out, and that's pretty much it. So just make sure you buy the proper slot for this one. It's an older one. It's not the newest one where it has the M plus B, which has a 2 little snips. All right, so now that we open it up, and I wanted to talk to you guys. This is a WD Western Digital B plus M on this one. So on the M.2, and if you guys see, I'm gonna take the one that's in here, show you the difference. Now, this one is the older version, of course, it's M plus B. There's 2 little snips in here, if you guys can see it, and one on those one side. So right now, currently, this machine only takes this particular one. So make sure when you purchase a hard drive, you purchase an older version of it, not the 2 little snips, only one. Of course, you can always return them if you get the wrong one. As long as you keep it in the same box and everything, it's returnable. Now, this is a 1 terabyte here that we have in here, and this is B plus M, M.2, and this is Western Digital. Purchase of this was $120 during the time. It might change now if you're watching this. Recommend you guys, if you guys buy a machine, you want more space, you want fast space, and you want a transfer rate, I recommend you upgrading that. So let's go ahead and put this back how it was. I just wanted to talk to you guys. Another thing is that if you have thermal paste, if you guys see it, you can always replace that. It's a thermal tape in the back, and it comes with it, of course. The great thing about this battery, it's supposed to last 6 hours, but because there is a touchscreen and there is lighting on the keyboard, you might get less of that unless you disable it. So in reality, it says around 6 hours, but in that case, I never have run it for 6 hours. Normally, it will run for 3.5 hours. You know, less if you start using the features I talked about. Battery is very replaceable, very simple, and it's a standard battery that Dell sells. And not only that, there's 3 manufacturers that are starting to sell this battery. So just be careful. There's a US company called BIT. They're located in Azusa. I actually visited the facilities. They make good batteries too, and they're close, local too, and American made. So if you want to go that route, you can do that. Battery replacement simple. There's a screw here. There's another screw here. And there was another one here, but it's not there no more. And all you have to do is lift this sucker here pretty much and replace the whole battery. Now the battery does have tape underneath, so be careful how you pull it out, you know, because if you bent the battery, it could catch on fire. It kind of flame, it gets, you know, it starts smoking. So just make sure you not bent the battery. If you're going to replace the battery, make sure you lift properly the same way all together and take out the tape in the bottom. Now, if you guys see, there is tape here, and this is the kind of tape that's located in the bottom with a double-sided, so just be careful when you're lifting that. Wireless card is located on this slot right here. There's another slot for a WAM card, all right? Now, this slot right here, it's pretty good. So I haven't used it for anything on these machines in particular, but if you ever want to buy an external GPU card that connects into a WAM connection, this is probably what it is, but there is no exit for any connections in here, so the wire is going to stick out. So just to give you a heads up, WAM memory, you can buy that stuff too as a hard drive replacement. You know, you can do that. There's a lot of things you can do on the WAM connection here, part of it. Here is the SIM card. This is where I'm talking about for your actual phone connection. Over it is the actual micro SD card. And they got rid of the SD cards, the smaller SD cards. They have the micro SD cards. That's pretty much the norm now these days. They could go up to 2 or 3 terabytes now these days, which is a phenomenon for the size of it. Pretty much this is completes the whole intro on it. And very solid, very good machine for traveling, For business type, all the office tools work. Even Adobe works pretty well. i7 chip in here. You could even do some video editing. I do not recommend any gaming on it, only the basic stuff, your Candy Crush, your Facebook and Instagram, all the internet functions. It's a really solid machine. Now, a lot of engineers, IT engineers, prefer something like this because they do a lot of remote into the other machines. They use a lot of the command prompts, a lot of different systems that they log in through. So this is a really good traveling machine, real light, real simple to use. And if you ever want to replace, like I say, a couple of things you could upgrade: your hard drive. Your hard drive is here, of course, your hard drive, your memory, and your battery. That's pretty much the only things you could replace in here. Other than that, if you want to replace the CPU, GPU, you're gonna have to replace the whole thing because it's all built in within the same motherboard. So the last tech that came in here replaced the whole thing, and it's just pretty much replaced the motherboard. It's all included in the CPU and GPU. Make sure, like, this is very critical in here, that you clean this stuff once in a while. You know, it's just, you don't want to clog this stuff because you know that the fan is sucking all the air in here. And other than that, if you have any questions or any comments, make sure you guys subscribe and hit me up. I'm your host, Frank the Tank, and we're out.